Hello and welcome to this breaking news edition of Ringside Digest. I'm your host Kirk Day, along with my co-host Noah Run and Nick Miller. And we got a big trade just happened a few minutes ago, and it is involving someone who've been talking about for a long time. Seems like we've talked about him since the beginning. His first name that we've heard, a couple of years as well, this year, last year. And it's Jacob Chychrun going to Ottawa. It's a big move, I gotta say. I didn't think that Ottawa was really a possibility, but turns out they are. So we're just going to give our initial reaction here. It's not very much they gave up for him. I'll pull up the trade here as well now. It's Arizona is getting a conditional first, a conditional second from 2023 and 2024, a second-round pick from 2026 for Jacob Chychrun, no retained salary. And I'll just pull up the conditions here. The 2023 first-round pick is a top 5 protected. If met, pick becomes a 2024 first-round unprotected. Additionally, should Senators reach the 2023 Eastern Conference Final, the second-round pick becomes a 2024 first-round pick, top 10 protected. If that condition is met, the pick becomes a 2025 first-round unprotected. So, basically, just a first, second, and another second. But I really thought that a lot more would be given up for Jacob Chychrun, not just the picks. Very surprised Ottawa didn't have to give up a prospect. That's pretty much what Arizona was looking for, prospects and first-round picks. So, I mean, it's a good deal in my opinion for Ottawa. Arizona, they kind of fumbled it by not having him moved earlier on when a lot of teams were shopping for him. So they're going to pay the price now. What do you think, Noah?
Yeah, once again, another deal that I'm absolutely blown away at the return. You know, we've been, like you said, we've been talking about Chychrun for almost 2 years now. And from what everybody said and from all the insiders have said, it involves first round picks and young guys, and they didn't really get any young guys. So I'm kind of questioning what's going on.
Yeah, I don't really know. I think they fumbled hard with that the waiting period that they had with trading him, and I think the asking price they had when it originally came out was like 2 firsts, like a bunch of prospects or whatever. All this stuff. I think the asking price was ultimately too high for too long, and a lot of teams gave up and said, okay, we're going to go with plan B, and plan B worked for a lot of teams. So I think that's ultimately why the return was pretty bad, honestly. It wasn't the Jacob Chychrun return we thought we were going to get. But I love this trade for Ottawa. I've been saying for a long time, a lot of people have been saying for a long time, Ottawa needs a defenseman. They have Thomas Chabot, and that's it. Everyone else is down here. Thomas Chabot's up here. They need someone that's at least right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think Ottawa definitely got their guy in this trade.
Yep, sure. And let's go ahead and do a little breakdown. We're not going to go too much in depth in the trade, but I'll just pull up Jacob Chychrun's chart here. He's a pretty well-rounded defenseman, 61 projected WAR, 79 defense, 58 offense. He's a perfect guy for Ottawa in this situation, what they're looking for. They're a young team looking to they can only get better at this point. They're actually starting to get the prospects they need. They got a good goalie in Matt Sogard. They have the young guys. They got DeBrincat in the offseason. Now they have Chychrun. They have Chabot. And I'll just pull up the defense here as well. This defense is starting to look very, very good. Now in a couple of years, this defense is going to be, I will project one of the top in the league. If they add a few more pieces on the right side potentially, it'll be very, very good. Because you can probably see maybe Brandstrom move over to the right side because he's played both, and then move Sanderson down to the third, put Chychrun on the second line. I think it suits Ottawa very, very well for what they're looking for right now and what they're going to be looking for in the future. What do you think, Noah, about that? Do you think that they're going to fit well on this team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the big kicker is his term and his contract, 4.6 for another 2 years. I think it is. I thought that's what it said there. Yeah, for another 3 years. So it's this year and then another 2 years. Okay. Yeah, like you said, he's 24 years old, and Ottawa is filled with a bunch of young guys, kind of looking to make that jump and kind of, trying to get a little taste of playoff experience. And, you insert a guy like Chychrun. I mean, yeah, he hasn't seen really much playoffs. I mean, obviously over there in Arizona. But, he helps them out right away. And, the fact, I keep the big part of this deal, the reason why it was so he's so highly touted is because he's 24 years old on such a good contract.
Yep, sure.
Yeah, I really think that like further to what you said, that there's a lot of guys looking to get some playoff experience in Ottawa. Like, sure, they brought in veterans like Giroux and DeBrincat. I don't know if DeBrincat's been in very much playoffs, but Giroux for sure. Obviously, he's been to the playoffs. He went to the finals with the Flyers first in 2010, and all that stuff. But a lot of those other players are really young and looking for some playoff experience. I think even if they don't make the playoffs this year, which I think ultimately they might now, but even if they don't, being in a chase for a playoff spot, there's nothing better for a young player's confidence than saying, okay, we competed this year. There's no more better motivation for over the summer. Like, hey, I want to get better because I want to make the next step next year.
Yeah. And ultimately, we're just happy for Jacob Chychrun. I mean, getting out of Arizona, like, at his age, how good he is, he don't really deserve to be there going through all that of what they're going through now. Like, this season, he got 28 points in 36 games and 23 minutes on ice. And those 28 points, that came post-injury because he didn't start the season with the team because he was hurt. But just seeing him out of Arizona, it's going to be refreshing. You can actually get to see what he can do with the team around him instead of him being the team. Like, it's going to be good to see him with, like, the young core as well. Because Arizona has a lot of heavy contracts on their team just to take from other guys. Like, I'm not sure if these guys are still there, but like Andrew Ladd and like, I guess you get that.
Shea Weber.
Yeah, yeah. But he also has that experience with those guys. He's been around them. Those guys have been there and done that. Getting that experience from those guys, even if it was in Arizona, it will definitely help him in another team when he's going to start to become that guy. Like, getting the experience from those guys, even though he hasn't gone through it himself, is certainly helpful for what he's going to be doing on Ottawa in the upcoming years when they're going to be going through the playoffs, because we know they're going to be good with the prospect pool they have right now. I mean, you got forward, like, just guys like you mentioned, like Ridley Gregg, like, very surprised none of them had to go in this trade. Arizona didn't really have much of an option anymore because all their teams that had lined up for them, they all filled the spot. So they had to do what they could before they get nothing, because it wouldn't have been good if they didn't get rid of him. Waste another year of him. His value, I mean, it would probably go down next year as well, because that's a year off the contract from such a good player. So we're just happy for him. Like, just to finally see him out, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be fun to watch.
I gotta say, let's take a minute here to appreciate what Pierre Dorian's done for the Senators over the last year.
Yep.
Pierre Dorian has made some significant moves. He said the rebuild was over, and he went out and got guys like Alex DeBrincat, Claude Giroux, and now Jacob Chychrun. Those are three significant pieces. Like, enough that you can build your team around those guys. But they already had a team to build around with Batherson, Norris, Tkachuk, Chabot, and then they added those guys. Pierre Dorian has made some significant moves, and I really like it.
Yep.
I think a big factor kind of in what Arizona wanted versus what they actually got, I think, was the Gavrikov trade as well. Like the full trade, I think it was Korpisalo and Quick kind of were like swapped, and then it was a first and a third going back to Columbus. Gavrikov, I'm kind of like I said, blown away at that return. So it makes you wonder, after that trade, what was Chychrun going to get? And obviously we see that now.
Yeah, for sure. And started with the Orlov one, too. After Orlov went, defensemen were just flying off the board, so they probably felt pressured to make a move. I mean, I would certainly in this case, if you get guys like Gavrikov and Orlov going to teams that Chychrun was supposed to go to. So, I mean, Arizona kind of they didn't do well in this one. I'll say that. That's as much as I'll say for it. And we hope you like this video, guys. We're going to have a lot more breaking news for if we got any big trades left. I don't really know, but if we do, we're going to have videos on it. We're going to have videos just breaking down normal trades, all throughout the season. And then when we get to the playoffs, we're going to have playoff stuff, off-season, trade deadline, draft. It's going to be a good time. So if you like this video, make sure to subscribe, and thank you for watching.